The situation in Ukraine is touching all of us very powerfully, very deeply. So many people in the world are feeling that it's simply wrong that we're having a war like this in our world right now. We feel like we've come to a place in our human evolution where we're supposed to solve things in better ways, more peaceful ways. So why is this happening now? What is this coming to show us, and what can we do about it? So my name is Tal. I am a social psychologist. I'm also a spiritual teacher, and I want to talk to you about the situation from a higher perspective, a conscious evolution perspective. What are we to do with what's happening in the world, and how can we relate to it in a way where we can actually influence our reality? Because as we know from what we've been talking about here on the channel, reality is not as material as we think. It's not out there. It's all happening within our consciousness, within ourselves. And so when we see war break out, when we see strife, when we see pain and suffering and people who are under such great pressure, what we need to know is that this is being brought up in our consciousness to help us shift, to help us change. And so what we're all being called to do is to identify that what is being shown to us is the play of forces within our own psyche. What are these forces? As always, the ego and love, fear and love, suffering and connection, love and unity. That's what's always on in a war within our psyche, within ourselves. And when ego, which means the need to control, the need to be right, the need to have things our way, the desire for everybody to do things the way we think it should be done, the desire for everybody to bow to us and take our opinion and kind of be below us, for us to be greater, for us to be better, more successful, etc. When that force reigns, when that force is dominant in our psyche, in our internality, we see that reflection in our world as everything we've been seeing in the past few years, really, that's been coming up for us to fix, which is the over-controlling, right, entities in the world, taking control over the world, which is strife, war, corruption, greed, all of the division, especially division everywhere in all these different places in our society. So this has been coming up more and more and more. And now we're seeing another step in that process with full out war, like physical war that's playing out. And of course, this war in the Ukraine could be, God forbid, just the beginning of something much greater. And so we don't want that to happen. So the more quickly that we can see what this is showing to us and how we can fix this situation from the inside out, how we can do our own conscious work to create healing and change in our reality, the more we can avoid all those negative consequences. Stop this now and start shifting our world towards better, more connected, more preferable, and positive outcomes and situations. So let's see how we can do that in greater detail. So when we see this projection of one country trying to overpower another, and I'm not even getting into who's right and who's wrong, it doesn't really matter. What we want is to point ourselves and ask, really, we want to ask and pray for the force of connection, which in spirituality is called the middle path, the middle line. It's neither left or right. It's neither this party or that party. It's the connection between people and different opinions and different sides of different conflicts that we want to be in control. We want love and truth and healing to be the power that is in control of reality, and not one side's ego, not one man's ego, one country's one opinion. No, we want a third, higher truth to come in and heal the rifts and raise people above their egoism, above their differences, to connect in the middle. And so just as we want that to happen in our external reality, we want that to happen within us. We want it to happen within our close relationships. If you've been having an argument or a fight with your partner and you see that you can't connect because you have to be right and you want them to kind of see you as right, and they have to give in to you. So you're trying to be overpowering and you're using your ego to defeat them. So even these very small wars within our personal relationships are actually these two forces coming into play inside our psyche on a very kind of miniature level. But it's all one system. We're all connected. What happens within our mind and heart and within our close relationships is reflected in things that are happening on a global scale. So imagine that, how much responsibility each of us has over the well-being of the whole. And since this is a holographic system, so what happens inside your inner world and close kind of environment is reflective of the whole. What you change also reflects a change in the world, and everybody who does this has the same kind of influence. So the more awake you are, the more conscious you are, the more you see what's happening in that mirror of reality, and you take that as a sign to do your inner work, to pray for connection, to desire love, to desire peace for all human beings, to shift your own mindset from a self-centered, egoistic mindset to what we call unity consciousness or higher consciousness, the more you can influence your reality and everybody else's. So if you're hearing this right now and you feel that this is something that you want to know more about, check out more videos on my channel to learn more about how you can evolve your consciousness. And in any case, let's all remember the power of our thoughts, the power of our inner intention. The more we can ask the higher power that governs our world, that higher power of love and connection and peace. And by the way, peace, it really means wholeness. It means coming back to connection. Just like nature is an interconnected whole system where everything has its part and everything plays a role for the benefit of the whole. That's what we want humanity to be like. So the more we can ask for this to happen, because we're not there yet. In our process of evolution, this is where we have to go. And the more we can strive towards it, want it, desire it, pray for it, the more we pull humanity closer to this state. We have to envision it, we have to want it, we need to ask for it together. So I hope you can join me in this prayer. Let us hold hands all over the world. By the way, I have friends in the Ukraine, I have friends in Russia, and none of them want this. All of them want peace. All of them want love. But what's happening in the Ukraine is like an exercise of connection for all of us to do together about all the difficult and terrible things that are happening all over the world that we want to heal now. Please let us not let this go any further. Let us take this opportunity to pray for peace so that Ukraine can have peace, so that the world can have peace, so that each of us can have peace within ourselves, within our hearts. And when I say peace, I mean wholeness, I mean fulfillment, I mean happiness in our relationships, for all the children to have a happy environment to grow up in, for all the mothers and fathers to be at peace, to be calm and happy and fulfilled, and for all of us to know that there is so much more in store for us, and we don't have to do it this way. We can find a new path, a new future, a whole new level of existence that wants to open up to us, that will be the other side of all this suffering. It will be the light and the love and the fulfillment and the higher consciousness that is in our potential to achieve. So I hope you join me in this prayer, in these thoughts, in this intention for our world. And hopefully by the next time I make a video, we can have some results and talk about how to move even further into the good future that awaits us. Prayers for everybody who's suffering right now.